Let's bring in ABC's Katherine Faulders in Washington, along with constitutional law professor Deborah Pearlstein for more on this. Katherine, the committee says that its work, quote, must do much more than just look backwards because our democracy is in danger, and that the conspiracy to defraud the will of the people is not over. What do they mean by that, and what is at stake?
Yeah, I think it's two-pronged here. You've seen that since January 6th, and multiple states have passed various different election laws. So this is also when they're telling their story to communicate with the American people, whether it be the public or in various different state houses, for example. On the other side of that, I think it's worth noting that the former president is still putting out statements on his various social media platforms or via email, talking about how he believes that the election was rigged and stolen. It's worth pointing out in some of those deposition videos that you've played with Bill Barr, his former attorney general, saying that he believed he lost the election. You saw Ivanka Trump, his own daughter, say that she agreed with that assessment of it. So people close to the former president are agreeing with this assessment. We know that Trump actually has replied to that and said that he doesn't believe that Ivanka Trump was involved in the counting or the studying of these election results, and that she was just trying to be respectful of Bill Barr. But when the committee talks about the stakes of this, what they're doing is we've talked about this. We've heard officials talk about it through sources, for example, former White House officials. But this is really the first time for a lot of these White House officials, senior administration officials, the Trump family, that we're seeing them essentially disagree with the former president.
Now, Deborah, the committee outlined several different ways in which former President Trump attempted to overturn the election results, from spreading false claims, pressuring state officials, to filing legal challenges and asking Vice President Mike Pence to not accept the certified electoral votes. What stood out to you about that whole line of questioning?
Well, I think there are two sort of sets of legal actors, or actors with the legal power to respond to what the committee is saying here. And it struck me that they were really speaking directly to each of them. Right? On the first hand, there's the Department of Justice and the Attorney General Merrick Garland. And a lot of the testimony we saw, even just last night, went to showing the president's state of mind, what the president knew and when he knew it, to make out any federal criminal offense and the kinds of federal criminal offenses that the Justice Department might be considering are things like conspiracy to defraud the United States or to obstruct an official proceeding. To make out any of those offenses, you have to show that the former president acted with a corrupt purpose, and evidence showing, testimony showing that the president knew that his claims were false go directly to that purpose. The other actor with legal authority that the committee really seems to be speaking to here is Congress itself. By making out this case that the conspiracy here was multi-pronged, that there were efforts to overturn the election, not only at the federal level through the vice president and through Congress, but also at the state level through legislatures, through election administrators, and through a broad and still ongoing disinformation campaign that resulted in the violence. I think the committee is trying to urge its colleagues in Congress to act. There are still legislative fixes that might be available here and that are available to try to prevent these still ongoing activities from affecting the next election.
Now, Katherine, the committee says former White House staffers testified that the president didn't want to put anything out, calling off the riot or asking his supporters to leave the Capitol. There have been a lot of questions surrounding Trump's actions or lack thereof on January 6th. So how has the committee tried filling in those gaps?
And there are a lot of gaps. We know we have that call log from the White House switchboard, but that only tells us a portion of the story from that day. We know that Trump was using cell phones of his aides, that he had other cell phones around him. So they're trying to piece this together, obviously through those videotaped depositions where we know that some people were asked about it, but also from other top aides who they hope to speak with who were around Trump that day.
Katherine Faulders, Deborah Pearlstein, thank you both. We appreciate it. And we have full coverage of the hearing on Monday starting at 10 a.m. Eastern right here on ABC News Live.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.